She runs marathons. She just climbed 19,000 feet, some mountain in Africa, and she does it all for the kids at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Now, Sahar needs our help. She's about to embark on the adventure of her life. Listen in, and you can hear what she's about to do for those precious kids. Sahar, I have been looking through your list of accomplishments and all to benefit our precious kids at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So let's go back and find out how you became you. What were your likes? How did you become this incredible athlete doing amazing things for people you don't even know?
The athlete part, I would have to attribute. I have two older brothers, so sports was a big part of life where when I was growing up. So running marathons, though, it actually started with my sister-in-law, who at the time was just my brother's girlfriend, and her dad were running the Houston Marathon.
Okay.
And she was like, run the half marathon, you can do it. And I was like, no, you're crazy. That's way too far. That's ridiculous. So I ended up running it and I finished. And then
And
I
the half
told her
marathon, it's 15, 12
13,
miles, 13.
13.1. And
Okay.
I finished and I looked at her and I said, I will never run again. You're crazy. And you did it twice because her and her dad did the full marathon.
Wow.
So kind of fast forward to 2018, and I lost my grandmother to cancer, who I was extremely close to. And one of the last things that she told me was to make sure that I leave an imprint on somebody's life.
Ah.
And I asked her to do chemo. And she said, look, I'm in my 80s. I've lived my life. I've watched my kids have kids. Their kids have had kids. I've done everything. I've seen what I wanted to. I don't want to do it. I'm tired. I'm ready to go. She lost my grandfather at a really young age, so she was just tired. And I stopped running for a while, and then I ran another race, and I saw St. Jude there. And I was finishing the race and I was thinking about what my grandmother said. And I was like, she was lucky and fortunate to see so many things in her life, but there's so many kids that may not get that opportunity. So selfishly, I signed up for a race with St. Jude and I was told if you raise a certain amount of money, you get an Apple Watch. And I was like, okay, so if,
Good.
all right, I'll do it. And so I told my mom about it and she thought it was going to be a one and done thing. And so I ran my first race as a St. Jude hero in Nashville.
How
And
fun there,
oh, it was amazing.
right?
So St. Jude has this thing where the night before the race, they have a pasta party. And they usually have a patient's family speak. And my brother and sister-in-law, who had gotten me into running, had just had their first kid, my niece. And I'm listening to this gentleman talk about his child who was treated at St. Jude and unfortunately passed away. And I walked out of there just bawling. And I called my mom and I was like, we're so lucky. We're all healthy. My niece was born. She was healthy. She is, we've never had to suffer like this. And so I finished that race and I said, you know what? If I'm going to run, I'm going to raise money. And from that race in April of 2019, I have never run a race without raising money for St. Jude's Children's
That's
Research Hospital.
amazing. And you've run race after race after race. And
I,
not only on roads like flat surfaces, but you've also gone up a mountain for St. Jude.
yes, just this October, a few weeks ago, I climbed 19,341 feet to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. And
Unbelievable.
all of it was for the kids of St. Jude.
What was going through your heart, your mind, your body? That must, I mean, now granted, you've run marathons, so you're in amazing shape, but this is a whole different world because you've got the pressure from the heights and right? Totally different.
So I initially signed up for it. I told my parents I was going to do it, and it was kind of on a whim. And then as I started training for it, I mean, we live in Houston, there is no elevation.
No. West
And
Mount Houston, we say on I-45. That's about it.
exactly. And so I spent hours on the Stairmaster with a weighted vest. And the first day and there's five other gentlemen that climbed. So I was on top of all of the like physical part of it, I'm the only girl out there,
Uh-huh.
which is, it's tough. And so I was very fortunate that the five other guys that I was with took care of me, took me under their wing, supported me. But mentally, the first day, I was ready to quit. I was just ready to give up. I was like, this is insane. We haven't even started like the actual elevation part of this. How am I going to go 19,000 feet? And I just kept telling myself, you know what, these kids, they don't have a choice on whether they're going to do chemo tomorrow, or they don't get to decide that. They have to, and they're fighting. And so I can't stop. They're not
Yeah.
stopping. And so when it got hard, I just dug deep, and I was like, you know what? Someday there's going to be a child that was saved at St. Jude, and they're going to climb this mountain, and hopefully I'm just a small part of that, and I can help make that happen. And so I just dug down deep, and I thought, what would those kids do? They can't stop, so I can't.
And just so you know that when you donate to St. Jude, the reason you do it is none of these kids will ever get a bill. This is
Never.
why people help the kids at St. Jude.
I mean, and I've been fortunate. I just recently, because I got involved right before COVID, and then there was all the restrictions where you couldn't really go to the hospital. I went and was able to visit the hospital for the first time this May, and to actually see those donations in use, and to know, and I've met people that their kids are currently being treated at St. Jude, and I've just asked them, like, is that true? And they said they've been there for over a year getting treatment, and they've never paid for medicine, they've never paid for food, for housing, for anything. So I mean, it is amazing to know that they are never going to see a bill, and if that can help save someone's life, I'll keep going. I'll keep climbing mountains and running marathons.
I just think of the impact and the legacy that your grandma left you and the kids at St. Jude and anyone who hears your story. It's amazing what she did.
It really is. And my parents, they have continued, and they really are very charitable people. So I've been fortunate to have grown up around charity. But for some reason, just what my grandmother said that day about having seen so much in her life, and then it just got me thinking that those kids should get that same opportunity. And I've been healthy all my life, and I've never had to face that. And I want to be able to help in any way I can.
You know, they say to those who've been given much, much is expected, and you're going to be doing, just to let our viewers know what you're about to do. It's 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days. Is that
That
is that
is
right?
that is correct.
That's it.
Yes,
No, that's
ma'am.
insanity. That's pure insanity.
I was given the opportunity, and not only to be able to say that you've done it, but to be able to say that I've done it while raising money for the kids of St. Jude is what makes it all the more special. It's going to be insane, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But to know at the end of the day that I'm going to be able to help these kids, that's what it's all about for me.
Well, I'm just thinking in my head now, how fast can you run a marathon?
About 5 hours.
Okay, so 5 hours, give or take a couple of hours, cushion before, cushion after. Then you got to hop on a plane to
Yes.
get to your next location. I mean, how are you going to actually do this?
Uh,
Is
you
it all
know,
mapped out?
it's not mapped out. The opportunity came about right before I left for Africa, and I told myself my mom said no more crazy ideas. You need to think all this stuff through. And I got to the top of Kilimanjaro, and I thought about it for probably 15 seconds. I came off the mountain and told my mom, when we go back to Houston, I'm calling and saying I'm doing it.
Now, was it someone you met on your climb up Kilimanjaro?
No. So another gentleman in out of Dallas is doing it next year for
Mm.
St. Jude, and I somebody had approached me about it and told me that this was like it's an event and it's doable, and I was like, okay, well, one marathon is crazy enough, but seven on 7 different continents, and then I just thought about it and I was like, what an adventure! Like, why not? Let's do it.
I love
So
that spirit. I love it. So, how are you preparing yourself? When is this all going to happen?
So I am going to begin fundraising now. I have a pretty huge goal of $100,000 to raise,
Okay.
but I don't think it'll be difficult. I know that with such a worthy cause, it'll be easy to get donations. And then the actual event will happen in 2026.
Wow. Well, we're going to get all your information up on our socials. So if people in Houston, where'd you go to school? Just so we can get some of your family and friends being like, oh, okay, I'm going to help her out.
So I went to high school in Fort Bend. I went
Uh-huh.
to Kempner High School, and
Excellent.
then I graduated from Sam Houston State.
All right. So, Sam Houston State, I took an announcing class up there. Actually
Yes,
started my
ma'am.
radio career. I love it there. So, you've got a good source right there. Family, friends in Fort Bend County area, up in Sam Houston. Teachers, friends, have you let these people know yet, or is this the beginning?
This is the beginning right here. So I am going to be going to Memphis for the Memphis St. Jude Marathon in the first week of December. And I'm actually going to be on the campus of St. Jude, and I'm going to be filming a little video where I'm going to post it to all my socials to announce it officially that I'm going to be taking this challenge on for St. Jude.
All right, you have to call into the radio station.
Of
Now,
course.
okay, and anytime you call in because then we can feature you in our Tell Me Something Good segment. We do it every morning at 6:20. It's hope-filled, it's positive. You'll get a good lot of good positive vibes, and who knows, maybe you'll get someone who would like to donate some mega bucks to your adventure.
Well, absolutely. You're going to be hearing from me quite a bit.
Absolutely. We would love to. I love your attitude. What do you want to do when you grow up?
I just keep raising money. And it's crazy because the first couple people that I ever asked for donations, they said no. And my mom was like, you've got to get thicker skin. You've got to, for every one person that says yes, 10 are going to say no. And now it's so funny because if my mom's friends don't hear from me every few months for a donation, they're like, what's going on? When's next race?
What are you,
That's
lazy or something?
yeah, that's everybody. It's just like it's become just a household name now. Everywhere that I go, everyone knows that, oh, it must be time to donate. So I think when I grow up, I just want to keep raising money and helping kids, helping anybody.
Who knows what doors are going to open from these adventures that you're embarking on? I love it. You know, I love the kids at St. Jude. We do our radiothon every December during our Christmas music, which is supposed to be a joy-filled time. And people are like, how's that work? Well, when you go visit St. Jude, as you know, it's a joy-filled place.
Absolutely. They are some of the happiest kids that I have ever met in my life. The St. Jude Memphis Marathon, you get to actually run through the campus of St. Jude. And I get chills. And I've run it 4 or 5 times now. And every single time I get chills because you literally have patients and their families and doctors and nurses that are lined up cheering you on. And they're telling you thank you for raising money, and you're just trying to fight back tears, trying to say no, like this is not. And it's just incredible to see the joy and the happiness on their face, even though they're going through such a tough time. Like
Yeah.
you can't tell by looking at them.
It's so true. It's just it's they are humans that are above our levels. I mean, it's just they're just very special people. And I know it's that magic at St. Jude that really lifts them up above their problems. It's true. I've
Absolutely.
watched it. Now, you started out, just so our viewers know, you were not a runner. An
No,
athlete, yes, but not a runner. Big difference, okay?
big difference.
So, how, if someone is thinking about, they're very encouraged by you and want to do something great in 2025, how could they start? What would be a good suggestion?
Well, there are so many 5Ks and 10Ks. The Houston Marathon and Half Marathon, you can sign up to be a St. Jude hero and raise money. Virtually any race, anywhere, you can sign up to be a St. Jude hero and raise money. And that money, all of it goes straight to St. Jude. Just I would love to put people in touch with different races that they'd like to run. You can literally go all over the country. I've been fortunate enough to go all over the world, as far as London and Berlin, to run marathons. So there are all kinds of, and you don't have to run. You can volunteer your time. You can make a donation in honor of somebody. You can find somebody else that's running or raising money. So even if you don't feel comfortable just jumping on the running train just yet, because I definitely was not.
Right.
But there's so many ways to help. And I would love to encourage anybody out there that's listening to this to get involved, whether it's with St. Jude or any charity. It can really, it's changed my life in ways that I would have never imagined.
And we have to thank your sister-in-law. She's the one who pushed you, right?
She is. And it's so funny because in my head, she was in corrals that were earlier than me. So she was starting earlier. I told her, oh, I'll just walk with her. And then when she starts, I'll just leave. Like they won't know. But her mom and her dad really encouraged me to finish, and I did. And she's a huge part of why I started running and why I've continued on.
That's a beautiful story. Oh, I'm so glad we got you on so you could share your incredible adventure. You need to write a book, and we'll have all your social media contacts on our social media so people can reach out and help you in ways that would really be beneficial. So you're
That
just
would
a
be
delight.
amazing.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
And so while you're raising money for St. Jude, what do your brothers do?
So
And
we all work for a family business. We're all here in Houston, which is why I'm able to get away with running so many of these crazy adventures because I can't get fired from a family business.
wonderful.
So we are local contractors with FedEx as well as a home restoration. We do historic homes in the Heights. So my brothers are a huge part of this also because when I go on these crazy adventures, they kind of pick up my slack at work and really help me out. So it really is a family effort. My parents go on vacation. They went with me to Africa and loved it. They've been to Berlin and London. My mom almost always travels with me when I travel here in the U.S. for these races, and the family is a huge part of supporting St. Jude as well.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So
I
it's a
love
it's
to
a
hear that.
family effort for sure.
And you just have such joy on your face, and despite all the hard work, you definitely understand. It's so much easier to run for something higher or bigger than yourself than just running for
Absolutely.
yourself, right?
Absolutely. When the training runs get hard and the hours on the stairmaster getting ready for Africa, you just you remember that it's not about you and it's for somebody else, and that extra just gives me, okay, I can do this because they're doing something much harder than I'll ever have to go through or
Mm.
do. So if they can do it, I can do it.
That's excellent. What a great lesson to share and such wisdom. And thank you for sharing a little bit of your life with us. And we're going to help you out. You just be in touch with
I
all of us,
will,
okay?
absolutely. Thank you so much. And I love listening to you in the mornings. It is so crazy to actually see you and put like a face to a voice you hear every
Isn't
morning.
it so funny?
It's
35 years almost. It's insane.
it's
And I think
crazy.
about that too. With all the great people that we meet, we go, wow, so I have to get up at 2 in the morning. I can do that. They're
Oh yeah.
struggling much harder than I am, right? It's
Absolutely.
so
And I would
true.
love to stop by during the St. Jude Radiothon and
Come
answer
on
phone
by.
calls, anything I can do to help out.
We will let you know, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, love. Take care.
Thank you too.